welcome to Beat the Odds and happy holidays. If you need some betting advice or maybe just a break from the in-laws, come hang with us for the next 30 minutes. We're going to have a good time. Beat the Odds starts right now.
From our Las Vegas studios, this is Beat the Odds, sponsored by Superbook Westgate Las Vegas.
And here we go. Welcome to Beat the Odds inside our Las Vegas studio. I'm Dave Hall.
And I'm Mariah Janos. We hope you're having a great holiday season full of family, food, and unwrapping that 75-inch TV you've been asking for. Santa is a busy, busy man.
So is the Grinch, though. The Grinch may not steal Christmas, but it can steal your winning ticket. So coming up on today's show, Fat Jack and Teddy will talk about some of those brutal bad beats we saw last week and how you can try to avoid them.
Plus, we're neck deep in college bowl season. Teddy has found 4 games and 1 trend that you should know about. Plus, I'll be at the Superbook Westgate Las Vegas and show you why the books are the place to be on football Sundays. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Dave, over to you.
Thanks, Mariah. Let's welcome back the boys and happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays to you guys.
Happy, joy, merry.
A big weekend, too, right? I mean, the game's coming up on the weekend with Christmas following where it did. We're going to get action all weekend long.
Yeah, we're also going to talk about some of the college bowls as well. I mean, there's football every day. This truly is the happiest time of the year.
If you're not on the wrong side of some of these games, for sure, right?
Well, let's talk about that because there were some doozies this last week.
Oh, doozies, you're not kidding. Bad beats in bunches this past weekend. And it started on Saturday. Indy with a 33-0 halftime lead, and they ended up allowing the biggest comeback in the history of professional football. So when you lose a game that it's in a scenario where it's never happened before, yeah, that's a pretty bad beat, guys. No question about that. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. Tom Brady, he's 89-0 at home with a 17-point lead at halftime. Tom Brady is now 89-1 with a 17-point lead.
Mariah just cringed at that one.
Yeah, that was no fun at all. If you had Tampa last weekend, since it was a big second-half comeback there, that was a tough beat. And then, of course, the one right here in Sin City with Las Vegas and New England, where we can only call it a final play meltdown from New England last week in the loss to Las Vegas. The first time since 1978 that a team won on a final play fumble recovery touchdown. That doesn't happen every day either.
Yeah.
Not a great start to a weekend for those three, if you had those 3 teams. But if you were on the opposite of all 3 of those, probably need to play the lottery this week, right? I mean, it's a great week because never happened before. It makes you feel a little bit better. The funny thing about that is when you're on the right side of those, though, they'll go in one and out the other. You'll forget about the wins that you really didn't earn or deserve, but the losses stay with you for a while. I mean, we can all talk about some of our worst beats of all time, and those happen. The reality is your overall wins and losses, though, are not determined by those games. It may have got you into that spot when I go out and I'll overeat, and if I eat an extra piece of pie at the end, I'll walk out and ask my wife, hey, do you look fat? Do I look fat? She's like, you actually do look fat. But it didn't start with that last piece of pie. This story began during the appetizer round when I'm eating too much calamari.
We love your wife, Jack.
You know what? I love her, too, for being honest with me. Like, hey, it didn't start with the pie. It started much earlier in the evening. And that's kind of how we probably should place these bad beats, is that if you got there and if your balance is low, there were other decisions leading up to that probably took you to that place, and that was just the poster child. That was that last piece of pie.
Yeah. Now, does that lead into pain versus pleasure that we see on our graphic
Yeah,
there?
I think that you do. You're going to have, for every bad beat, there is a guy who will be going to tell all of his friends, you'll never believe what I had. You never believe how I got there. And those are a lot of fun. They just are more short-lived.
Sure.
And it's worth noting, it didn't end over the weekend. There was one on Monday night as well. The knee at the 1-yard line and the Monday night game. Is the game going to go over? No, it's going to stay under because you take a knee at the 1. And again, that's not a bad beat in the sense of it was a right side loser. But it was certainly a tough beat if you got the over to get down there.
Right.
Oh, well, game over. Those are tough.
So remote controls were probably airborne at that point. So the last minute bad beat on Monday night, not the place you want to be.
It's like the running back that falls at the 1-yard line.
On purpose, when you're not exactly sure what the analytics say to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, those are fun also.
All right, well, we're going to dive more into this throughout the show. You guys hang tight. In the meantime, Las Vegas Sportsbook's always fun, but especially when we have a wild Sunday of football games like we just had. Mariah is at the Superbook Westgate Las Vegas with more.
Thanks, Dave. I am here with Executive Director of Superbook Operations here at the Westgate, John Murray. Haven't seen you in a bit. It's nice to be back with you today.
Good having you here to recap the craziest weekend of the year, I think.
Yes. So thank you for segueing that perfectly right there. So many games last week, 3 in particular standing out to me. Las Vegas, Minnesota, and Jacksonville. Those 3 were insane, but that got me thinking, do books watch individual games and how closely?
Oh, we definitely do, especially if it's a standalone game, a primetime game, or if it's a game we have a lot of money on. Sometimes the games we have our biggest decision on might not be the big game of the day, but it's definitely the one we're watching.
And how do books react to bad beats?
I think bad beats are overblown. I think people exaggerate those. It's only a bad beat if you were ahead the whole way and you lose at the very end on a questionable call or a wacky play. That's a bad beat.
Now, you were working here at the Superbook on Sunday during that fateful Las Vegas-New England game. What was the reaction here at the book?
Confusion, shock. Is that touchdown actually going to hold up? Why did the guy throw the ball backwards like that? Why did they even call a play at all if all they were going to do is run the ball? Why didn't they just simply take a knee? The only thing I'll say is I think it's crazy to blame the coaching staff. If I was the coach, it never would have occurred to me to be like, hey guys, remember, the game's tied. Don't throw the ball 30 yards behind you because we're going to go to overtime.
I blame myself for being a New England fan, so there is that. That's how I feel.
You've had some pretty good years as a New England fan. I don't feel too bad for you. I'm sorry.
That's a fair point as well. All right, Dave, I'll just send it back to you in studio.
Yeah, you've been spoiled rotten, Mariah. Thanks, by the way. We've talked all season about pros versus Joes. And Joes, this could be your time to shine. Jack and Teddy will tell us why and how you can go from a Joe to a pro.
As we take our first time out, did you know that many consider the 2017 big game between Atlanta and New England to be the worst bad beat? Yes, the 28-3 game, I remember it like it was yesterday when Atlanta pretty much had it in the bag, but New England scored 25 unanswered points, winning the whole dang thing and giving Tommy Boy another ring.
Beat the Odds is sponsored by Superbook Westgate Las Vegas.
The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Legendary. Vegas. Fun. Enjoy Westgate's classic gaming and entertainment. Savor fine dining. And experience the world's largest sportsbook, Westgate Superbook. It's all at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino.
Coming at you from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world.
You love our show. Now you can get even more from BeatTheOddsTV.com. Betting lines, trends, and analysis of the big games.
The difference between a bad beat and a big win.
The interviews, the stories, plus a unique spin on sports history. Your ticket to in-depth content as seen on the show is all at BeatTheOddsTV.com. Check it out today.
Welcome back to Beat the Odds. The Miracle at the Meadowlands was another famous bad beat. What common play did it usher in? The answer, taking a knee. Let me set the scene here. 1978 New York-Philly matchup. The G-Men muffed the final play of the game, and Philly literally picked up the ball and ran away with it. So to avoid that ever happening again, winning teams began to take a knee in the final seconds of the game, which New England probably should have done.
Hey, by the way, if you're coming to Vegas to ring in the new year, you'll see a lot of people taking a knee. Too many of those giant margaritas. Be careful of those. Scan that QR code. It will take you to our website, BeatTheOddsTV.com. Yeah, Vegas, one of the great places to ring in the new year, of course. Well, we're back with Jack and Teddy. You guys are saying it's a prime time for the Joes to learn a little more about maybe becoming a pro.
No question. I mean, this is a week where many Joes have the time to bet like a pro, plain and simple. And here's 3 bullet points to just get you started in the theory of how you might want to bet a little bit more like a pro than a Joe. Number 1, less impulse, more research. Remember, there's not just what we saw last week. There's a full season of evidence to recognize how good or bad these teams are. One of the mistakes that Joes make, they spend a little bit too much time looking at last week or thinking about last week's games and not enough time thinking about the full research of elements that are available for you.
Gotcha.
Number 2, and this is really important, bet sober. Go easy on the eggnog. If you're drinking, if you're having fun, that's fine. Don't gamble. Betting and drinking do not mix. Go easy on the eggnog. Last but not least, and this one's important, you have less time where you're working. That means you have more time to do some football prep. Be ready early in the week. If you can take advantage of the early week numbers, you'll get the best of it. And over the long term, that'll really help you become a pro more than a Joe.
Now, Jack, I'm definitely one of the Joes. I'm a terrible sports bettor. But you say one of your keys, kind of piggybacking off what Teddy was saying, is self-awareness.
Yeah, I think that most people, a couple of things, they may not realize that there are people out there that win betting on sports consistently. And so admitting that is a good thing. The other thing I think might be confusing to people is you say research more. There's so much information out there and so many different pieces of information. How do you know what's good and what's not good? And so one way to sift through that is go ahead and find some people that you trust that are winning and being honest about it, and follow them. Follow them on Twitter.
I know a couple guys who do that.
Right? And that was one of my points. Watch this show. I mean, our free plays at the end, 6-0 the last 3 weeks, 8-2 the last 5 weeks. So find somebody that you trust, that you believe they're telling the truth, they're transparent about it, and then you can follow their information on the social networks avenues. The other thing, find some teams that, generally speaking, sharp players are going to like. If you watch this from the beginning, we've been talking about Philadelphia since day one and how good they were going to be. They're coming to that fruition. Jacksonville, another team that the sharps kind of like at a general basis over the last few years. So follow those teams, and you can find that information by watching the lines early in the week, as Teddy said. When you see those line moves early in the week, that's not a $50 guy who's here on a convention with a lanyard around his neck. It's somebody that knows what they're doing, betting more money, and the markets are reacting to that. So pay attention to those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday type line moves.
If somebody's holding one of those giant margaritas, do not listen to their betting advice.
We went over red flags, right? That was one of them.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Well, between pro and college, we have football games every day right now. The boys will be back with some college games they're looking at and where you can find some of that coveted hidden value.
I just had to share this pic of Nyheim Hines wearing these sweet cleats on Christmas Day last year. Yep, that's the Grinch. And since Hines was traded to New England, do we think Belichick will still let him sport these things? Come on, Bill. You know you wanna.
The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Legendary. Vegas. Fun. Enjoy Westgate's classic gaming and entertainment. Savor fine dining. And experience the world's largest sportsbook, Westgate Superbook. It's all at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino.
Welcome back to Beat the Odds. Only one team has made the playoffs after a 1-6 start. Which team was it? The answer, 1970 Cincinnati. Detroit is looking to be the second team to achieve this feat. They've had the toughest strength of schedule so far, but their last 3 opponents have a win percentage of just 32%. So they've got a good shot.
Hey, not to rub it in, we know many of you are freezing your tushies off right now. It's like 65 degrees here in Vegas, so hopefully this video of a puppy pool party in Vegas can warm you up at least a little bit. Scan that QR code on our website, beattheoddstv.com. Hey, the pups are having the time of their lives.
Right, good start for them.
Yes, so this is a great time of year. We got, between pro and college, we got football every day. So let's talk some college bowls, Jack. Get us started.
Yeah, there's something for everybody here. In college, you can look back at the last 3 or 4 years, and since the transfer portal and guys holding out for the draft and all those type of things, it's taken on kind of a personality that we can rely on some things. Consider this, 36% of all underdogs in these bowl games since 2018 have won straight up. That's a really high percentage, almost 4 out of 10 underdogs winning straight up. So when you're looking for bowl winners, you want to try to drill down, start with underdogs, and also don't be afraid to play money line this time of year. Money line will get you more value, and it's not about the name on the front of the jersey. It's all about motivation, what coaches are preparing their teams and good at that job, which not everybody is. Mike Gundy is. Oklahoma State is 6-0 against the spread their last 6 in bowl games. He typically gets his team ready no matter what the bowl situation is, no matter where it is. I like Oklahoma State plus the points against Wisconsin.
All right. I know, Teddy, we talk a lot about, in terms of pro, finding that hidden value. You say in college, I mean, same thing.
Sure. The concept is absolutely the same when you talk about finding hidden value with teams that may not have much of a betting bandwagon. And a lot of the points Jack was making were spot on. There's a lot of different ways to handicap these bowls. But one of the things I like to look for is teams that were not good point spread teams during the regular season. Teams that finished 4-8 against the spread, so 33% or worse, include December 27th, Utah State plus the points against Memphis in Dallas. December 28th, Ole Miss minus the points against Texas Tech in Houston. December 29th, Oklahoma plus the points against Florida State in Orlando. And last but not least, one for each day, one for the 30th. NC State basically pick 'em right now against Maryland in Charlotte. All 4 of those teams that went 33% or less against the spread during the regular season. There's no betting bandwagon on them at all.
All right, thanks, guys. Well, many of you have or will be traveling for the holidays. You know, betting laws do vary from state to state. Mariah walks us through what we need to know.
Yeah, traveling for the holidays can be extremely exhausting, physically, emotionally, and financially. If you're a sports bettor, your finances can either get a little cushion this holiday season, or you may have to tighten your belt a bit. The first thing to consider as a bettor on the road, make sure it's legal in the state you're going to. That's step one. There are states like New Hampshire and Rhode Island where there's just one massive online sports book to go through. Other states like Nevada have endless lists of books to choose from, but you'll likely have to sign up in person in order to bet. If you do in fact end up using a sports book that you have not used before, there's typically first-time sign-up bonuses and risk-free bets to take advantage of, so Merry Christmas to you. Some common questions people do have when betting out of state though. First up, should I use my relative's address? Use your personal information, including your address, even when betting in a state that you do not live in. Something to think about: if you use incorrect information, the book likely won't be able to verify your bank account and you won't be able to deposit it. Then you have to call customer service, and we all know how that headache goes. So next up, can I withdraw when I get home? The only thing you can't do once you get home is place another bet. So you can log in, deposit, withdraw, everything except bet. Say you're in Pennsylvania for Christmas, you bet on a bowl game, then you go back to New York and your bet hits. You can cash out in New York even though you placed the bet in Pennsylvania. Do not go back to Pennsylvania. Now, can I bet futures before I leave? Absolutely. And if you live in a state where betting is not legal, place a futures bet while you can. You need to be in a legal state to place the bet. That may be the one time you can place a bet all year. You can forget about it once you've placed it, and then if it ends up hitting, you can cash out at home and you got yourself a nice chunk of change in your pocket. It's a win-win. So just a few things to keep in mind as you hit the road for the holidays. There's no shortage of games to bet on at this time of year, so have at it and best of luck with your bets.
Thanks, Mariah. We're going to finish things up with Jack and Teddy's top picks, plus the wheel. The wheel will reveal who among us has the most embarrassing holiday story. Oh, boy. Find out next.
As we head to break, do you know what is the longest game ever played? In 1971, the playoff game between Miami and Kansas City on Christmas Day. This game went to double overtime, and Miami won 27-24. It was the first time the league ever held games on Christmas Day.
Coming at you from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world.
You love our show. Now you can get even more from BeatTheOddsTV.com. Betting lines, trends, and analysis of the big games.
The difference between a bad beat and a big win.
The interviews, the stories, plus a unique spin on sports history. Your ticket to in-depth content as seen on the show is all at BeatTheOddsTV.com. Check it out today.
All right, back with the gang on the couch. Thanks everybody for watching. We really appreciate everyone who watches the show. We know it's shown in different markets all across the country. Especially wanted to say thank you to the Yes Network.
Yeah.
We have a lot of viewers on the East Coast.
Having a great year, by the way. It's good to be watching sports on the Yes Network
No
for
doubt.
sure.
Yeah. And thanks to Jack, by the way. Look at this. Brought us some cookies.
It's a holiday season. I made them myself.
Yeah, I'm sure you really
No,
did put
not
in
so much.
some hard work.
Yeah, not so much, but it is a holiday season. Excited about everything going on with us, and ready for a big into 2022.
All right, well, let's have some top picks, guys. Jack, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, I'm going back to the well. I mean, it's been Denver's gone over the total a couple of times recently. I'm not buying any of it. Also, Los Angeles, Baker Mayfield does not have the offense cooking at all. It's not baking anything going on. So we're going to
He's
go.
not baking us cookies.
Absolutely not. I'm not sure he can do it. He's not even settled yet. He's still renting his furniture. So we're going to go under the total. LA 5-0 against the spread. Their last 5 on the road. Neither of these teams are playing very well. Denver also great defensively, 5th overall in the league right now, under the total in Denver, LA.
All right, Teddy, how about you?
Well, let's talk about Pittsburgh and Las Vegas. And we talked earlier in the show about what was an absolutely brutal beat that Las Vegas were on the right side of last week. I don't think it's happened 2 weeks in a row. Look, we can expect Kenny Pickett back in the lineup for Pittsburgh on Saturday night. It's football weather back east. You know, we talked about how beautiful it was here in Vegas. Not back there. The game temperatures in the teens, maybe in the single digits. That's not Las Vegas weather. Vegas 0-6 straight up on the road in games decided in regulation time this year. And one thing we know about Pittsburgh teams under Mike Tomlin, there's no quit. 4-2 straight up their last 6 ball games. One team playing well, the other team I'm concerned about. Pittsburgh minus the points.
I tell you how confident I am. We are rolling with these top plays. 6-0 the last 6, 8-2 over the last 5 weeks. These are both winners too. We're gonna break the jinx.
Book it.
All right, awesome. Hey, now it's time for the wheel. It's our 5 heads on a Vegas-style slot machine. Today, the wheel is going to reveal who among us has the most embarrassing holiday story. Yikes.
This could be weird.
Yeah, all right, let's spin that wheel and find out who has to reveal. I mean, we know Jack probably has a million of them.
Yeah.
Mine aren't made for TV.
But,
Here's a good one. Here we go.
Oh, Mariah.
Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, so let's set the scene. Christmas pageant, church Christmas pageant. What could go wrong, right?
How old are you?
Probably 6.
Okay.
7 maybe. I was the angel in the pageant, get to sing my songs and entertain as I do. I wasn't feeling well that morning, so I took a little medicine before church, but as the pageant rolled on, the little angel's wings were getting a little itchy, and all of a sudden she became bright red and swollen and covered in hives to the point where her eyes were swollen shut. And that was my really lovely holiday Christmas story.
Your pain is our gain, though.
Yes.
You freak out allergically, but we get to hear about it here years and years later.
Exactly. So Jack's going to slip me some ibuprofen now.
Oh, great. On that note, you guys have a fantastic holiday. We'll see you next week here on Beat the Odds.